The money from rich allergies is not free. One day, it will ask for more than you can afford.
Old dirty woman, mind your business.
They were warned. But instead of listening, they insulted the old woman and called her a dirty old woman. What happened to these Abuja city girls will leave you in shock. Watch till the end. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts in the comment section. Let's get into it. City of Abuja. There lived a girl named Natalia. She was young, exceptionally beautiful, and full of big ambitions. Natalia lived with her cousin, Ruby, who was a quiet and hard-working student. Ruby was the kind of person who believed that true success only comes through hard work and patience. But Natalia hated poverty with a passion. She hated the daily struggle of jumping from one yellow bus to another. Even though her parents in the village did their very best to send her money, it was never enough for the kind of life Natalia imagined. Every day in Abuja, she saw the big boys and big girls driving expensive cars and living the soft life. She promised herself that she would belong to that world at all costs. When Natalia got into the university, she noticed something very quickly. She saw that girls with money were respected by everyone. Girls with heavy connections were feared, and girls who looked expensive were never ignored. Slowly, her mindset began to change. Education was no longer her priority. She started spending her school fees on designer hair and makeup. To her, appearance had become everything. Natalia soon made friends with 3 other girls who had the same hunger for wealth. They called their group the Abuja Big Girls. To them, the university was just a cover-up to show their parents. They believed that real success was found in the VIP sections of clubs, luxury lounges, and private house parties where the wealthiest men gathered. Night after night, they went out. They dressed in bold, expensive outfits and wore perfumes that announced their arrival. It didn't take long for big men to notice them. Wealthy allergies with deep pockets began to spend money on them freely. Suddenly, Natalia had the latest iPhones, designer bags, and bundles of cash. They went on expensive trips to Dubai and stayed in 5-star hotels. The girls told themselves it was just enjoyment and their way of surviving the hard economy. Natalia became their leader. She was the boldest. She knew exactly how to talk, how to pretend, and how to collect money without showing any fear. Her lifestyle changed completely. She moved out of the crowded student hostel and rented a luxury apartment in a highbrow area of Abuja. She ate only the most expensive food and posted pictures on Instagram that made thousands of people jealous. Ruby watched all of this with a heavy heart. She tried to warn Natalia many times, saying, "Natalia, please be careful. Not all money is good money." But Natalia only laughed at her. She told Ruby that she was too slow, too old-fashioned, and too afraid to blow. As the money increased, so did their pride. They started insulting poor students in the department. They mocked those who were struggling to study under streetlights. They truly believed they were untouchable. Then, strange things started happening. Natalia began to feel a weird crawling sensation inside her body. Sometimes she would scratch her skin until it bled. Her friends also started complaining of sharp, biting pains in their stomachs. They tried to ignore it, blaming it on too much champagne or the stress of partying until dawn. At night, Natalia's dreams turned into nightmares. She would see herself in dark underground places with strange men chanting her name. She would wake up screaming and soaking in sweat. But by the next morning, she would put on her makeup and head back to the club. The girls started fighting among themselves over men and money. The allergies who used to call them every hour suddenly stopped picking up their calls. The easy money started to dry up and the girls became desperate. One afternoon, while they were eating at a popular university canteen, an old woman approached their table. Her eyes were deep and her voice was as calm as a graveyard. She looked at them and said, "My daughters, the honey you are eating is mixed with gall. Turn back now before the owner of the wealth comes to collect his balance." But pride had made them deaf. Natalia stood up, insulted the woman, and gave her a heavy slap across the face. The other girls laughed and cheered. They walked away feeling more powerful than ever. That night, the luxury apartment was unusually quiet. There was no music, no laughter, no popping of bottles. Suddenly, a sharp, piercing pain struck Natalia's abdomen. She fell to the floor, clutching her stomach. Her three friends also began to scream, rolling on the rug in total agony. It felt like thousands of needles were poking them from the inside. Natalia, trembling and covered in cold sweat, reached for her phone with the last bit of strength she had. She called her mother back in the village. "Mommy, Mommy, please help me!" Natalia wailed into the phone, her voice shaking with terror. "Something is moving inside me. It is biting me. Mommy, please pray for me. I am dying." Her mother started shouting on the other end. "Natalia, what is happening? Talk to me." But as Natalia tried to speak, she felt something tickle her throat. She looked down at her arms and screamed a scream that shook the building. Small white worms were starting to push through her skin. They were coming out of her paws, her ears, and her mouth. Her friends were in the same state, their beautiful skin tearing apart as the price for their wealth finally came to be paid. "Mommy, the worms! They're everywhere!" Natalia cried out one last time before the phone fell from her hand. There was no time for a doctor. There was no mercy from the dark world they had entered. By the time the sun came up, the Abuja Big Girls were no more. Their lifeless bodies lay on the expensive Italian tiles. Their luxury bags and gold jewelry were scattered around them, useless. Their expensive phones kept ringing with notifications, but the owners were gone. Their beauty had turned to horror, and their wealth could not buy them one more minute of life. Ruby arrived later that morning, and when she saw the scene, she collapsed on the floor, weeping for her cousin. The news spread across the university and the whole of Abuja like a wildfire. People came to look, some whispered in fear, and some cried. But many young girls who were planning to follow that same path stopped and changed their minds. The lesson was clear to everyone. Luxury without discipline is a trap. Money without patience is a curse. A fast life almost always ends in a fast, painful death. And that was how the Abuja Big Girls paid the ultimate price, a price they thought would never come due.